Hey guys, Scott Sullivan here, and in this video we're going to talk about the question, is God real, and how do we find out? Okay, so when we're talking about the question, is God real? Of course, we want to know how could we find out? How can we even answer that question? After all, God, by a traditional definition, is a spirit. It's not a physical object like a table or a bookshelf or anything like that. So God isn't the kind of thing that you can directly go and observe. So to find out about the existence of God, it doesn't do any good at all to try to find this out by sense experience. You know, that's just not going to work. And so the only way to know if God exists or not is by an inference from effect to cause. That's how we know God exists, through his effects, through effects that we see in the world. We can infer from that, based upon logical and metaphysical principles, that there must be some sort of cause behind this. And that's what the traditional arguments for the existence of God do. Take, for example, the first cause argument. This shows that given that certain contingent things in the world exist, and there can't be an infinite regress of those, that series would have to stop. That series of cause and effect would have to stop at a first cause. And we can go into an analysis of what a first cause must be like and show that such a first cause must be God. That's one type of argument for the existence of God. Another very popular argument for the existence of God is the design argument. So when we see certain features in the world that are ordered, that call for an intelligence, you see, would lead us to a designer. This is a very popular argument for the existence of God. Anyone in the history of theism, has some sort of design argument, I think, for the existence of God. Another popular traditional argument for the existence of God is the moral argument. So this one starts from our own consciousness, our own conscience, an awareness of certain moral values and obligations. You see, there's a certain understanding in which we know from our own sort of self-introspection, personal introspection, we can see, observe from the effects in our own conscience, if you will, that we are obligated to do good and avoid evil. And we can ask, well, what is the cause for that sort of effect if it is indeed a true moral obligation? And you can reason to a moral lawgiver that way. So these traditional arguments for the existence of God, they all kind of proceed on that basis. They go from effect to cause, whether it's the existence of a contingent thing to a first cause, or the existence of certain features of a thing, like something that's ordered would go to an orderer or a designer, or certain moral effects would lead us to a moral lawgiver. So this is how we would know if God is real or not. Again, it's not something that we can directly observe. It would have to be an inference of sorts. And we do this all the time in science. We make all these, effect to cause inferences all the time. There's nothing illogical or wrong or irrational about that. So that's how we know God exists. And if you're interested in more things like this, I have courses on my site. You can visit my site at www.scottmsullivan.com, where I defend some of these traditional arguments. I've got video courses there, podcasts and stuff you can look at to see my take on these. And I'll go into a lot of the atheist objections to these. You got the traditional objections from philosophers like David Hume and Immanuel Kant, more recent objections from atheists like Bertrand Russell or Dawkins, people like this. I'll take on these sorts of objections on some of the materials in my site. If you want a book, I recommend this book. I actually recommended this book in another video, but I like this book a lot. This is Brian Davies, An Introduction to the Philosophy of Religion. Now, philosophy of religion is it's a branch of philosophy where we talk about these things. This book is put out by Oxford University Press, and I think Brian Davies does an excellent job introducing beginners to these topics. He goes into these arguments that I've been telling you about for God's existence, the design arguments. He goes into defending some of the attributes of God and some things like this, talking about the problem of evil. Does evil in the world show that a good God doesn't exist? So this is a nice little book, I think. Again, Brian Davies, An Introduction to the Philosophy of Religion. So in sum here, I just want you to know that on this question of is God real or not, the key takeaway here, I guess, is that the only way to know this is, again, not by direct observance, but it's going to be some kind of effect to cause reasoning, and the best way to approach these matters, I think, is with the traditional arguments. Okay, now if you like this video and you want to receive more like it, then go ahead and click this subscribe button right here. Click this button, and what that will do is that it will subscribe you to my channel, and what that means is that whenever I release a new video, you'll be notified about it right away. Also, I want to give you a copy of my free book. Click this image right here. This is my free How to Answer a Jesus Critic book. So click this image. It'll take you over to my website. You can give me your email address, and I'll email you a copy of this book. It's just a quick little read on how to answer the most common objections to Christianity. Now, if you're on a mobile device right now, these links in the video won't work, but they're right down there in the video description. I want to thank you for watching this video, and God bless.